just saw it with Miami Dolphins. The pressure, he's in trouble. Loses the football. Touchdown! Got it! You have got to be kidding me. Jalen Waddle. It's a Dolphin touchdown. Throwing deep upfield down the near side. Man open. Touchdown! Looking deep. He's got it there. Touchdown! The run from Tua Tagovailoa. Touchdown! He's going deep. He's got it for a touchdown again. Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan. One, two, three. Let's go!
All right, huddle up, huddle up. We're gonna crank these engines up on one. All right? Wait, 80. Wait, 80, set. Drivers, start your engines.
This is the Finish Line.
I coached some great offensive linemen in the past. Larry Little, Dwight Stevenson, Jim Langer, all Hall of Famers, and Richmond Webb belongs to that same group.
Here are your hosts, legendary Miami Dolphins left tackle Richmond Webb, Reason, and Mr. BallGame.
What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason. We're back here for another one as we welcome you all back to the Finish Line. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, the legendary Richmond Webb, the triple OG, Mr. Antarctica, keeps it icy, Mr. BallGame. Why do you be giving the? See, I'm watching you, Richmond. You be giving those eyes when I be dropping the end. I see you. All right. Next thing you know, you're gonna wink horizontally at me, bro.
You supposed to be paying attention to the cue cards on your desk. That's what you're supposed to be paying attention to. Come on, home. Slow down with all that. I told y'all we good. We had a little debate before the show, y'all, so they're a little nervous. I don't know why. I mean, they'll go off before I will. So, but move right along. Let's get back on schedule. Come on, Regional.
Shout out to Stetson over becoming a channel member. I appreciate you, homie. Oh my god. How are y'all doing tonight, gentlemen?
I'm doing good. Glad to be back on the show, y'all. And I got the fans here, so in case y'all start that bullying mess again, I know they got my back. But man, the wife just got back in town. Her and my daughter, they all went to a little girls trip, and they went to Savannah, Georgia. So everybody kind of got back home. So I was stuck here with the dog and kind of chilled out for about almost a week. And other than that, but I'm good. Dog is good. I had to take him to the vet, but I think he all right. So a little busy today, but other than that, ain't nothing but another day. But other than that, I'm good. How you doing, Mr. BallGame?
It's all good, man. Life is amazing right now. Had a week off. I run that summer program for the Boys and Girls Club at my the school that I'm attached to. But this is our week off, so I just been relaxing, man, trying to really just take in how blessed I am, and looking around at things going on in the world and just being able to eliminate a lot of stuff that don't have nothing to do with me, man, and just know that I'm blessed and highly favored, and I've got you guys in my corner, man, and I get to do this every week, man. It's an amazing ride right now. I wouldn't trade it for nothing in the world, bro. So.
Okay.
I'm just waiting for a knock at the door and the Men in Black to be on the other side of it after we get off here and Richmond makes a call.
I'm not messing with you in ball game.
I'm looking over my shoulder. Yeah, I'm always looking over my shoulder. So,
y'all put them things
gonna
back
catch
on
me
safety, man. Ain't nobody got time for that tonight, man. Put that back on safety. Don't do that.
Thank you.
Jersey Mike's just showed up, so let's get rolling here, guys. We're 13 days away from training camp. Dan Marino days away from rookies reporting to training camp, and then I believe on the 25th the veterans will report as well. First open training camp session to fans is July 30th, so we're only 25 days away from that. How are y'all feeling with training camp just on the horizon, man? We're gonna have to start getting into some training camp specific shows over the next 2 weeks here too, as well.
Yeah, I feel good. We kind of hit a little dead spot. So go ahead, Ball.
No. I ask you later. Go ahead. My bad. I'm sorry.
No, you ain't. Go ahead. Come on, man. Come on. What you looking at over there?
Oh, what day we going down?
Going down where? Oh, the training camp. You know the Texans.
Training camp. Yeah, what day we going?
They actually scrimmage against the Texans here in Houston. So I talked to Mark Clayton.
I come to you.
No, not today. Maybe either Monday or Tuesday. I just talked to Mark Clayton, so he lives here too. So when they come scrimmage against the Texans, I think they work against the Texans like 2 days. We're gonna go down there.
Okay.
And I talked to another one of my old teammates, Hugh Green, and he said he's gonna come in town. So we all probably gonna get together and just go down there and hang out and stuff like that. So that'll be good. But yeah, they actually work against the Texans this year, so they come to my neck of the woods. So I got to go put an eye on them. They come that close to me.
Okay, that's what's up.
I'm not gonna come down till that Titans game.
Titans game, okay.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm saving my money because I'm expecting us to have a divisional round matchup at home, and I want to go to a playoff game if it's at home. I want to go to a playoff game.
Claim it now. Put it out there in the atmosphere and let it manifest itself. Yes,
that's where I'm at. I truly believe that we're gonna have a potential divisional game at home. So I'm waiting on that. Like the only reason I'm going to the Titans game is because I want to go to a night game at the Rock. If it wasn't for that, I'd be sitting here waiting on the playoffs. You know what I mean? So
is that a Sunday night reason or Monday night?
The Titans is a Monday night, our only Monday night game. And if Tannehill plays, it's his first game back at the Rock since he got moved, whatever, right? And then if he doesn't play, I get to see my boy Will Levis that everyone knows I was loving, in the last draft. So it's a win-win for me, and I think we beat either one versions of those Titans. So, you know what I mean? I really want to go to a night game at the Rock. I want to see those fireworks at night and everything, So, that's where I'm at. Next year I'll probably once the roster gets depleted a little bit, maybe I'll go to training camp next year. You know what I mean? But I will be honest with you, training camp this year is going to be cinema because, but I want to run this by you guys actually. So have you guys looked at the actual training camp dates? So if you look at it, they open it to the public July 30th, the veterans report July 25th. They open it July 30th, August 1st, 2nd. Mm-hmm. They got a whole bunch of dates up until August 9th, right? Okay. Then all of a sudden, they're off. Well, fans are off for like 14 days, and then they're back for the joint practices on the August 23rd and 24th, and then fans aren't allowed back. So this is my theory. You look at how close that is to players reporting. Exactly. They're just getting the vanilla stuff out of the way and letting the fans be there for the vanilla stuff. And when the good stuff starts getting rolled in, y'all are going to be at home with no dates to go out there, right? And it's very smart the way they planned it. And I honestly think a reason, I talked to Dougley about this on the phone. I think me and Dougley are a reason for this because go back to last year, how much footage were me and Dougley getting sent from training camp? I was getting full training camp sessions sent to me by fans. Like I was getting the full thing clipped up and sent to me. And I'd play it up here. I'd play some nights I'd had 20 minutes of training camp footage. Okay. So I think they're trying to shut all that down because if that footage gets out of the vanilla stuff, they don't care. Right. But when that stuff that matters starts coming through and I think this is also a thing of Fangio, right? I think this is Fangio coming in and saying, hey, we got to keep this under wraps. We don't want to give away our recipe. Keep it under talk, you know.
We got a big
tight chips, you know.
Think about it. First game out of the gates is against the team that beat us last year, the Chargers, and you definitely don't want them to think that, you know, you definitely want to make sure that nothing that you put in new they get to see firsthand. You know what I'm saying? So it really does make sense. Like I said, the cloak and dagger approach, I think it's always worked, especially for teams that have high expectations. You know what I'm saying? And then you go out, and then if a team is able to counter what you did based off of the fact that you didn't put anything different in than you had from the last time they saw you, then yeah, that's a dud. And I don't think anybody in the organization wants to go out and lay a dud against the Chargers or anybody in that first 8 weeks. So yeah, you know, I thought of the schedule too. I thought the same exact thing. I'm glad you brought it up because I was like, oh, that's the key installs, because you only need like 2 weeks. You need 2 full weeks to be able to get the first phase in, and then from there you can go back and then show a wrinkle here or there. But at the most, yeah, that's exactly what I thought too. So
yeah, bro, it's clearly obvious. You know what I mean? What they're doing, right?
It makes perfect sense. I mean, you don't never let your right hand know what the left one doing. So I remember a lot of times we would get the tape and we would start preparing for the first game, even though it was preseason, because preseason games don't matter, especially if it was a divisional game. So with this being a conference game against the Chargers, it makes sense you want to win because the scale is weighted a little bit more versus a NFC team. But yeah, I love it. I'm glad they're not showing it. You want to see it, watch the game, or come to the game live or whatever. But I never believe in installing and showing everything in preseason because it just gives everybody a chance to defend and say, okay, these are your little wrinkles, this and that. How it gives them time to figure out how to kind of defend it or negate it when they play against you. So, like y'all said, it makes perfect sense.
Yep. So it's hey, it's gonna be a very interesting training camp this year. That's for sure, man. That is for sure. So let's start everything off today. As everyone knows, one of the stories this offseason is why Cam Smith, why hasn't he signed? You know, why? What's the deal with Cam Smith? And I told all of y'all what I had been hearing about the maturity issues after, I played that report that basically outed, what we had predicted, that Wynn was going to be at left guard. In that same report, it was also said that they had heard maturity issues about Cam Smith. When I checked into it, that I was basically told, hey, yeah, that's why they've held off on giving him the money. They want him around South Beach with all that money in his hand right now. That's what it is. So they finally got it done today. 2 weeks, they waited till almost, because here's the other thing people need to realize, right? With the new CBA, it's impossible not to get a deal done with a rookie. It's impossible. They're all structured. Okay. So, when there's holdups, there's reasons why. But anyways, they got it done. And here are the details. Same agency that handles Dalvin Cook. Loyalty above all. I believe Zach Hiller is the one who finished this off. And it's just slightly over $7 million 4-year contract with Cam Smith. I'm honestly glad they got this done, because one of the things we keep hearing, gentlemen, is how good he has been in mandatory minicamp, the offseason programs leading up to where we're at now. A thing that I've heard is you never beat him twice the same way. He's a real quick study. He's a real quick learner on field and in the room. I've heard he's just been fantastic. Let's start with you, BallGame. What are your thoughts on them finally getting it done with Cam Smith? And, how much does it mean that, they didn't wait till, July 14th? They gave him, okay, here's 2 weeks. And another thing is, how much does he got to pay back his agent and his friends for all the money they've lent him over the last couple of months, huh?
Yeah, I think it's always a plus when I think it's always a plus when an organization does their due diligence to ensure that the investment that they're making is not going to be something that's squandered by the person, and that they're going to get the maximum for their investment. He had some concerns. I mean, and that was stuff that already was said about him when he was at South Carolina. You know what I'm saying? He missed a couple team meetings, would be late, you know what I'm saying? Would be the last guy to get to the bus, even after the, even on the away games, trying to, you know what I'm saying? Just a whole bunch of stuff, hanging out, talking to girls, all sorts of stuff. But, you take the upside of where the player, you know what I'm saying? Because everything that you do with the draft is based on a projection for the player. And some things jump out at you a little bit more than others. A lack of immaturity is something that they'll have to just take into consideration and make sure they align him with someone that's been doing this a while, and you know what I'm saying, set him up with a mentor and all those things. And he has to actively tap in and check in with that person. You know what I mean? And it's not really a babysitter type situation, but for the most part, without putting that type of title on it, that's really what it is. You know what I'm saying? And that happens a lot. A lot of organizations have to do that because you got to think most of these guys they're still kids to some degree. They're under the age of 25. Most of them can't even qualify for their own discount rates on their car insurance. So, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. And you putting millions of dollars in their hands. The last thing you really want is for your player to be out wilding in South Beach and giving all the money to King of Diamonds, you know what I'm saying? And that's a real strong possibility. Signing bonus of $2 million minus whatever he's got to pay back to the agent and whoever else he got money from to, you know what I'm saying, do some of the floss and stuff he's done thus far. I think the Dolphins going to do exactly what needs to be done to ensure that he doesn't hurt himself long term and that he doesn't hurt the organization. And taking their time to invest and do everything is a smart move on their part. You know what I mean? That's a big difference in the regime and how they're doing things now than they've done in the past. And I like that, which is why I think that, from top to bottom, the Dolphins organization has really changed who they are and how they're seen. And that's a plus because in those things, for other players that want to come this way as well, when you see that your business is always about the business first. It ain't personal, it's business, and then from there they build individual relationships with the players. But he's a young guy, so you gotta always be a little cautious. So I'm good with it, man. I think it's a really good thing that he's signed now, but at the same time that they're going to be mindful of his development and make sure that he matures to be everything he can be for himself, his family, and for the organization. So
what are your thoughts, BallGame, on the situation? Richmond. Yeah, what are your thoughts?
Big ball game.
Big ball game.
Right.
Not bad.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with both of y'all. I think it was more than just what you reported, and I guess what I based mine on is at one point I had looked at possibly doing some scouting and actually got to see some actual scouting reports. So if you're a player that's projected to go in the top 2 rounds, the money that they're going to pay you, they're going to do their due diligence. So if you're immature, this and that, they're going to go through it. They're going to go through it with a fine-tooth comb. So it made perfect sense what you said. And then you got to look at it. Even if you are a mature person, I mean, you got to be really grounded in Miami. I mean, it's just too many distractions. And then even, I could see if he came from like the University of Miami or somewhere like USC, like LA, but he came from South Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina. So that's a college town versus coming to where a city that never sleeps like New York, Miami, this and that. So the temptation is definitely there. I think he's a hell of a player. I think they realize that. And I think they did everything to try to kind of manage to just get him on the right track, this and that. And then he'll have a better chance of not getting distracted and succeeding. But yeah, anytime you're projected a first, second rounder, they're going to go through it with a fine-tooth comb, and if it's something there, they're going to know it. So like you said, if he's got maturity issues, like BallGame brought up, make late to meetings and stuff. Not that he can't play. It's just he needs to mature a little bit more. So if that's the case. I applaud them for doing that, because imagine if they would have gave that money to them a month ago and mini camp and stuff. That's by the time you got a lot of free time on your hands, and it's easy to get into some stuff in Miami. So it's there. So I think they did the right decision, and looking forward to him really helping the team and playing an integral part in our success this year. So I'm glad they did it the way they did
it. How big of a relief was it for you when you got, like, how quickly was your rookie deal done? You were a first rounder, right?
I was the first rounder. I think I missed 9 days of training camp, and then me and Keith Sims signed about the same time. And I tell people all the time, I think that was a huge key to our success. We did miss a little training camp, but we were going 2 days then, and the 2 guys that were projected as starters, they were holding out for contracts. So we got all the reps during both sessions and both practices, played all the reps in the preseason games. So we got a ton of work to really get familiar and acclimated to the offense, stuff like that. And that's why I say, once you learn it to where you don't have to think, you can just react, you'll really see your production really project and go up. And I think that was one of the things. But if you hold out all training camp, by the time you come in there, everything's installed, and it's just hard trying to play catch up. And normally you'll probably be labeled as a bust. It's just because you didn't have a chance to really learn the system, but they ain't got time to slow it down. They say, okay, this and that. They'll just deal with it and probably play you in spots that they can to try to get a little something out of it. But normally your second year, better year. But that was an integral part in us, getting all those reps, learning the offenses and that, and getting familiar to the speed of the game. And also, getting all those pass rush reps, because I came from an option running team, and Keith Sims did too from Iowa State. So that was huge for us to get in camp early.
What was your guys' holdup? Do you remember? Like on it getting done? Do you remember?
Money.
Oh yeah,
money. Yeah, it's negotiation. So you want this, they want that, and then I think Shula kind of stepped in and said, "Get these guys in here." You know what I'm saying? I don't think it was much. We wasn't that far apart, and he was like, "No, I need them here. I need to get them in here," and they got it done. So once he did that, got us in there.
So I mean, and you guys won the starting job year 1, right?
Oh yeah. We started both rookies. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So how'd that go for the guys you replaced? Do you remember that? I gotta ask. Like, was there clearly like some bitterness or what?
They treated us okay. They treated us okay, but like once the regular season started, they came in because they waited till regular season to start. Come in. Basically, how you kind of rotate in and give guys reps. Yeah. A lot of time they would hang back there and just leave us in there to take reps and stuff. But I just chalked it up as being, a rookie, and I understood. I said, "Hey, man, we got to do what we got to do." So we just stuck together, and it was good. I was glad I wasn't the only offensive lineman that was a rookie. I was glad Keith was there with me, because we could kind of bounce stuff off each other, and we played side by side. So we learned to communicate really early, really well. And we, like I said, by the time my second year, we could just look at each other and kind of knew what each other was thinking. And it just took off from there.
God, I wish we had that on the offensive line right now, don't you? Jeez. These guys can barely work together on a screen. You know what I mean? Like, well, I mean, I don't know what to say. Am I right? Where's the lie? All right, like, answer me that one. All right, all right. So, anyways,
smash that like button. Come on, let's get reason back in. Yeah. Smash that like
button, man. You guys did a great job last time. We got over 600 likes on the last video. Let's get over 500 again if we can here. Appreciate all y'all coming through and showing some love on this Wednesday night. Now, interesting story here, because this article came out today from Barry Jackson, and in this article from Barry Jackson, exploring how Miami Dolphins have handled safety and what they're getting in Deshaun Elliott. Now, the big takeaway here is actually in the opening of this article from earlier tonight. Check this one out. The Dolphins thought enough of Brandon Jones that they were never inclined to offer a sizable contract to Jordan Poyer or any other free agent. Now, this is all we're going to take from this article. This is our talking point here right now, because this was we negotiated with him, we lowballed him, nothing worked out. He took the offer in Buffalo, he went home, right? And we had been saying all the time, well, we're going to find out how badly he wants to play here, because we ain't paying him no $12 million, $14 million. It ain't happening. And BallGame, we'll start with you again, because obviously secondary and such. Are they overvaluing or overrating Brandon Jones in the sense of what we've seen from a coverage standpoint so far? Because right now there's a big gap, and we don't know who's going to fill it, because Eric Rowe is gone. So when you're talking about box play, but covering tight ends and such, and guys coming out of the backfield, you know, that's something Eric Rowe is damn good at, and it's never really been a strength thus far of Brandon Jones's career, and he's transitioning to a whole new defense. So I'm not going to, you know, he's got to be focused on learning the ins and outs of the new defense, right? You know, do you think that's a role Deshaun Elliott's going to fill in? What do you think about them not making a sizable offer to Poyer to shore up that safety tandem? And what are your thoughts about the faith they're showing in Brandon Jones? Because they're showing a lot.
Well, first, let me talk about the faith. I think they got a lot of faith in him. I think because when you look at it from a coaching standpoint, right, with Vic coming in and this being a new defense and all, everybody counted to some degree. He's going and he's leveling the playing field, or he's scratching off of what, you know, they're supposed to know, because this is a new defense for him. So you take the whole individual, you take the player at where they are, right, and how they fit, and how they could possibly fit into what you want to actually do. So for Brandon, being a guy that's really as young as he is, my thing always with him, I always go back to the fact that, like, I look at what he was asked to do as opposed to what he was never really asked to do a whole bunch of coverage stuff. You see what I'm saying? It was a lot of that. The old regime was all about the zero blitz, zero blitz, zero blitz. And you know what I'm saying? They was always sending him because he was good at blitzing. So I said, I don't really know if he's not capable of covering, because they never really asked him to. So if I'm a coach coming in, I'm going to look at every player and I'm going to have a list. I got a list of strengths and a list of weaknesses. And I got a list of what they did well and what I hope that they could do based on the things that they did well. And for Brandon being a guy that's so young, I still believe that he has the ability to be able to learn what needs to be done inside of this Fangio defense. You feel me? And then with Deshaun, on the other hand, he kind of gave you a snapshot, really, of what he was able to do after the benching in Detroit. He was able really to be the enforcer on the back end and come down in the box and deal with tight ends for a bit and get out to the flats with running backs. So you got a guy that can push the younger guy, and both those guys together can be kind of groomed in this new defense. So I like the fact that they saved the money on that position, and you can get two different. Now you have the ability to get two guys who are still fairly young in their career to be able to be, you know what I'm saying, multi-versed inside of this defense, and then you have them paid through the nose for a guy like Poyer, who's really and truthfully probably on his last contract and getting out the door. The other piece of it all is that I don't think like when you really look at this team, I don't think Poyer would have been a luxury signing, right? I think they have the defense has enough talent when healthy to be one of the top defenses in the league and be solid, you know what I'm saying, and have the potential to play at a B+ or better level at each and every position on the field. And that's really odd and really rare when you think about how defenses are structured. Some teams are strong up front. Some teams are above average on the back end, or they have immaculate linebacker play that the linebackers have to do a whole lot of extra work. But when you look at this team, really how it's constructed, I think inside of this new Fangio defense, they're going to be able to give you you know what I'm saying, at their best efforts, B+ at every level, sometimes A- maybe, and that's going to be well more than you're not going to get a team every weekend we got that's going to give you A+ effort on offense. So the B+ is going to be better than their C-. And you save the money too. Like, we don't know what his motivations. Poyer's motivations were clearly to get paid for this final contract, right? This is probably his last one, right? He's tapping the door on 30, right? Right? He's 30. He's, what is he? 39, 30 years old. So this is the last one potentially for him. So no, you don't get that from us. I'm okay with them going with the young guys because I think overall, when you take it, if I'm Vic right now, if I have all these slates and they're young slates, I can still mold these guys. I can get them to remove some of these bad habits because they haven't set in completely. And I'm talking about guys 7, 8 years in. I'm talking about guys 2, 3 years, 4 years in. I can come in and I can clear all that out, you know what I'm saying, and get them to understand, you know, philosophically what I want from them, because the athleticism part of it is not a question. All these guys are more than capable of being, they're all top athletes. Just how cerebral can they be? How fast can they pick it up? And I don't think we just never asked Jones, right? We never asked Jones to do a lot of the coverage stuff to a high degree because they didn't ever employ him that way. So I still believe that he has a chance to be a really good guy for us. And I think the Dolphins did a really good job by not overspending in the free agents market and now bringing in Elliott. Because that way, even if they do duke it out, you got two guys that are busting their butts to be the best version for that position. You know, be the best selection for that position. And the other guys chomping at the bit, still ready and waiting too. You see what I'm saying? So you it's like got a 2-for-1. And you're paying less. So did I answer the question? I answered the question, Richmond.
Nah, man, I'm messing with you, bro. Come on, man. I was stealing some of your notes while you was talking. Yeah, you good. Nah.
I'm a Brandon Jones fan, man. I just hate he got hurt last year. I think he was going to be able to do some special things. You know, him coming back, man. I've seen some of the off-season videos of him, man. He looks good right now. So, you know,
that's another thing. Like you said, you've seen the off-season videos. I think when, like you said, it was unfortunate he got hurt last year. But when you rehab with that team, they can see your progress and they can see how you're coming along. So they've had an eye on how he's been progressing and this and that. And like you said, with Poyer, like you said, a luxury. I like the way you said that would be a luxury signing. Why sign it when you got X, you got Ramsey, you got Holland? And I started thinking, I said, with those guys, you know, we got one of the best secondaries in the NFL, if not the best. And the other thing I look at too, and both of you have said it on the show before, this is Holland's 3rd year, so they got to pay that. They got to pay that young pup. You know, he maybe got another year, this and that. So, like y'all said on the show before, let's not let everybody's contract keep coming up. If we can sign some of these guys before that helps on the cap, that helps secure your core guys, and they're gonna be here for a long time. And I just think with this Fangio defense, man, we could have easily, I'm gonna say easily, probably 5, 6 players in the Pro Bowl, you know, this and that, because it could be scary. I know Chubb's been in it before, but like with Chubbs and Phillips, and then moving Ramsey around in different positions, formations, this and that. And like you said, we signed Elliott from Detroit. With him, if he matches up well with tight ends, I'm sure Fangio said, okay, well, I need to put this guy here, this, and it's playing chess and not checkers anymore. So I think Brandon Jones is coming along.
A lot of big nickel.
Oh man, it could be like, man, what is this? So I think it's going to be fun, and I think he'll probably have some of the fans scratching his head and be like, man, how did he figure out how to align all this and put this out there? Because I think it's going to give some offensive coordinators some nightmares. So I think, you know, to Reason's point, I think that's the reason when you don't necessarily need it, you throw a low ball out there, because like if you really had to have it, then that's when you put the money out there. But if you feel you're good at that position, be like, no, It's not necessary. We would want you, but we don't necessarily have to have you to get done what we need to get done. I think that's why they threw that out there a bit. That's my take on it.
You muted, bro.
It goes back to what BallGame said, where he's kind of like a luxury or whatever in the sense. And yeah, Dalvin Cook's a luxury, but he's more of an impactful player that you would want to get on this roster and get in, right? So, yeah. Anyways, I mean, shout out to Topher for the $9.99 donation. Appreciate that, man. All right, continuing on here, because my whole thing with Brandon Jones is, BallGame's right, he hasn't been asked, but it looks like they're supplementing it. I mean, you look at what Deshaun Elliott and what Brandon Jones cost, and combined, it's much less than what Jordan Poyer would have cost, right? So,
yep,
food for thought. Let's get into something. We came up with another list for all of y'all as we get prepared for training camp, and this one is, we picked 3 players each that we feel are on the roster bubble or basically in danger of being cut, moved off of. So let's start off with you, Richmond. You're 3 here.
Yeah, I was struggling with this, so I had to cheat a little bit. I had to read a couple of articles because I just normally don't think about this. So you threw your boy a curveball, but I tried to hit it as well as I. And then, who's it got my number on? I even picked the guy that's wearing my number. Oh, Lord have mercy. Okay. It's gonna be one of these days here. Man. Y'all ain't right, man. I knew it. So I told y'all to watch these 2 cats right here a bit. I looked at man, it was tough, and I know a lot of stuff comes into play when a lot of time it's the salary you make, a lot of time it's the age, a lot of time if it's a bunch of depth at that position or whatever, it can really determine whether you actually make the club or not. A lot of time it's injuries, who gets hurt in camp, who doesn't, this and that, who plays well through preseason. So there's a lot of stuff, but I picked 2 offensive tackles. Christian.
Yeah, start with the name that's highlighted that rocks your number and tell them why. It's not because he wears your number.
Man, these brothers ain't right, man. See, that's what I'm saying. Put a bad taste in my mouth. I think Reason did this on purpose. I'm like,
actually, I just sent our list to the graphic guy, and he's the one who picked it. So this is like one great coincidence.
Yeah. Give me that guy. I need to text that brother. I'm saying, man, I need to holler at you, player. Man, I'll be doing that. But,
well, bro, I don't think you got to worry about Jaron Christensen giving you a run for the best to wear 78 in the Miami Dolphins. Okay,
I'm glad he looked good in it. I like the old headpiece and all that. So he in there.
Bro, what are you talking about? He ain't got the dog shoes and the short shorts walking along the water with Keith Sims and hopping in the drop top Beamer. Okay,
the short shorts ain't in right now. You got these tight leg and slacks everybody wearing, but I'm old school. I gotta have a little room in my britches. I can't have them all up on me like that. So I'm like, man. But I looked at him. I knew he's kind of free agent, and I looked at with him the tackle position is very important. I know you're looking for someone that can possibly be that swing tackle between hopefully Austin Jackson and Teron Armstead, and I picked him. He doesn't have a lot of guaranteed money, so a lot of time when you're in a position like that, if you're not producing, I think he's going to get a lot of reps. Probably, I think he'll get reps in the preseason to show, okay, who's worthy, this and that. And if you want to be here, you're going to have to show it and show it pretty quick. Because if not, I think they're going to be looking for depth, this and that. And I don't think we've signed Connor Williams yet, so we still got a couple pieces out there that once that comes together. So I chose him, and kind of the same reason for Kendall Lamb. Looked at him, not a bunch of money invested, so it wouldn't be a hard decision to get rid of him. But like I said, you got to produce when you're in a situation like that. Teron ain't going nowhere, so that it's only like possibly 9 spots in the room. you look at that, and if you're a guy that can possibly play center guard or guard tackle, this and that gives you a little bit more security. But when you can just play, one position, you got to be able to play both sides well, right, left tackle, this and that. So that's why I chose Kendall Lamb. And then I had somebody else, but I seen one of y'all had it on the list, so I did a little bit more research, and I chose punter Michael Turk. He was the backup, so I said, unless the guy that's in front of him just bombs it or whatever, he's probably going to get released. But he'll be a camp body. So that's how I kind of came up with my 3 right there.
Your 3 ball game.
All right, so I started off thinking, and this goes back to my breakdown of how they wanted to have this team structured. When you got Hill, Waddle, Chosen, you got Ezukama coming on, you got Braxton Berrios. All those guys are, with the exception of Eric, those guys, those 4 guys of that group all run amazingly fast. And then you got Cedric, who really and truthfully is like the odd man inside of the room, because Ezukama's actually a little bit more fluid in his route running now at this point, and it's a bigger body who could fill Cedric's role for what he could do on the offense if they needed to. But then he's also affected by the fact that I think Higgins is going to get a lot of burn, man. I really do. I think Higgins is going to probably steal some reps from Cedric, and the price tag that Cedric has right now on his contract, man, just makes him not a real good fit for what we're trying to do moving forward. I just don't see how he fits into the offensive scheme of things, Even when he was healthy last year, he couldn't even get the spot back from what's my man name that left?
Sherfield?
That came over from Sherfield. You see what I'm saying? He couldn't get the job back from Sherfield. So I just don't see it. I just don't see it, and not that Cedric's a bad guy, but I just don't think he fits the mold of what type of offense we're going to employ, right? He's just not a real quick guy, not a real, not a real twitchy guy either, and he's definitely not one of the top route runners on the team. So I just don't see how he fits. So, and freeing up that space, getting him traded somewhere else to get that cap space back, is probably on the agenda as well. Now, Keon Cross and I went with just because of the fact that I do believe that when a new defensive coordinator comes in, right, like I was talking earlier about the clean slates, it's easier to clean the slates of guys that don't have a whole lot of years of bad playmaking and bad habits and things, and go with younger guys. And then with Cam Smith signing today and Needham coming back, and then Kadu having played out of his mind last year, Keon Crossan being one of the older guys in the secondary, that puts him and Bethel actually, and that's what I was gonna go with first, Justin Bethel. But then I thought Keon Crossan was a smaller build guy, but Kadu, really took that role on and basically maximized it to its full potential. I just don't see how he makes it out, and I'll let you talk about the guy you got, but there's gonna be a couple of them that cut. And him being longer in the tooth and being older, you got experience at the positions you need the most, but you need youth also, because you got to build on that year in and year out. We don't know how much longer X got, but Crossland's never going to be the guy that's going to go out there to feel what X is doing on the boundary. Not at least something that you would do consistently. And like I said, with Needham coming back, that really puts, in my opinion, it puts a spotlight on him to be a guy that they could just, hey, man, we're going to give you an opportunity to go somewhere else and see if you can get on. Because he came from somewhere else. He's been in the league for a while. And then Tyler Croft, for me, when you went and you got Durham Smythe, and then you also have, what the other tight end name?
Eric Saubert.
The bigger boy.
Saubert.
Eric Saubert. Yeah, you really need 3 guys built the same way doing the same exact thing, because Smythe has proven to you that he's a more than capable blocker, Saubert does that extremely well as well. And Croft is not a guy that's going to go out there and just separate and be completely dynamic. But, you got Tanner Connor and you got Higgins, who I believe is going to beat out Tanner Cogger. But, I'll let you talk about that. I think that this guy just doesn't have a role, right? You're not going to keep 3-4 different, you're going to keep 3 or 4 tight ends that are actually doing the same thing. And Durham's probably the one guy that cemented in the group over all of them. And then Saubert right behind him. And then they're going to give the hybrid. I believe the best hybrid is going to be Higgins, in my opinion. I think that's really what it's going to be. He's going to be the best hybrid version, out of all of them. So, yeah, Croft and there's a couple other guys that they signed. They'll be camp bodies, which you need guys to go out there and run reps and do different things. But when it all shakes out, these are the guys that I believe won't be on the 53 for this upcoming year, in my opinion. So,
yeah, for me, the obvious is I just don't think I don't think Noah Benogany makes this team, man. I think there's too much quality there. I think, with Trill Williams coming back, and I think, I've talked about this, he looks like another guy. I think Trill Williams is a guy Jalen Ramsey was hinting at when he's talking about other players who can play the star role. And then kind of to your point with Keon Crossan, I agree with you, and yet I would still take Keon Crossan over Noah Benogany. Why? Because Keon Crossan is at least a special team specialist, right? That's the only path I would see to making the team for Keon Crossan is special teams. For Noah Benogany, where do you fit? When you look at the names here, at best he's like CB6, CB7. And I just don't see I don't see Noah Benogany. I just don't see him getting better. You know what I mean? Now for me, Myles Gaskin, even, and this is whether we get Dalvin Cook or not, last year, who was getting the opportunities when Wilson and Mostert was out? Was it Myles Gaskin or Salvin Ahmed? Right? It was Salvin Ahmed. It's clear, McDaniel, they brought Salvin Ahmed in, did Shanahan McDaniel when he was still with the 49ers. He is a Shanahan McDaniel boy. So they're going to take Salvin Ahmed over Myles Gaskin. And it's crazy because, 2 years ago, he was our leading rusher. And now he might not even make the – you know what I mean?
Yeah, you make the team. Right.
And then third for me is I see him – listen, I think they'll try and slide him on the practice squad. That's where I'm going with here. But like you said, I think Elijah Higgins is going to get bumped up over him. I think Elijah Higgins is going to get more opportunities. I think the transition is going to be easier for him. And I just don't. You mentioned them. Smythe's a lock. Eric Saubert's pretty much a lock to be number 2. Then it's the battle for 3. You got Tyler Croft, Elijah Higgins, and Tanner Connor. Well, 2 of them are projects, and one of them's an underperforming professional football player. Right? So if you got to ask me which one they're going to take, they're going to take their newest and shiniest project, which is who? Elijah Higgins. And that's what I think. That's why I agree with you on that. Yeah, that's why I agree with you. So I see Tanner Connor. I don't think he makes this 53. But, hey, last year he made the 53. And, we were all shocked by that, right? So, you never know. You never know what could happen in the craziness of training camp. Finally here, I want to get into this with y'all. I played a portion of this interview. Well, another portion just got uploaded. And this is Jalen Waddle talking about Tua Tagovailoa. Let's play this, and then I'll ask you guys my question.
When you were at Alabama, do you remember who you caught your first touchdown pass from?
I'll say Tua. Yeah.
Situation so far. Tagovailoa to the end zone, in stride to Waddle.
When you're in the NFL, do you remember who you caught your first touchdown pass from?
Tua. You already know it. The big ones.
On the move is Waddle. Tua. Waddle to the pylon. Touchdown!
Like knowing that you guys have had that long relationship, and it's built from college, from your first touchdown catch with him, all the way through the NFL.
It's great. Tua's a great guy. We got, years in with us playing together, so that's always good. Being, familiar with your quarterback, especially going from a college game to an NFL game. So it's kind of like learning how to ride a bike again. Us just playing back and getting kind of it's fun, but you don't have to learn, quarterback tendencies and what he like because you already played with him.
There's some differing opinions around the league about him. You've known him for such a long time. You've played with him for such a long time. What about Tua to you makes him special?
Ball placement. I think everybody sees it. Ball placement, knowing exactly where to put the ball, where his receivers can not just catch it, but catch it and run with it. So that's what makes Tua.
So I don't know if you guys saw me on Twitter today, but I was going to war with Bengal fans over the whole Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle better than Chase. Jalen Waddle. I mean, if you guys want to hear something crazy, check this one out. If you were to combine Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill last year, right? They combined for 3,066 yards, right? And that was on about 287 targets. Okay. If you were to combine Jamar Chase, who had more targets than Jalen Waddle, T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, all right, those are 325 targets, 38 more targets than what Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill got, right? Yet Boyd, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, if you put them together collectively, only accounted for 2,837 yards. That's 229 yards short of what Waddle and Hill did combined. And, I keep hearing the whole excuse, well, Chase missed 5 games. And people are trying to say, well, he missed games. And I'm sitting here and arguing and telling people, it doesn't matter if he missed games. He had more targets and more receptions than Waddle. Tua missed 5 games. You don't see me sitting here crying that, well, if Tua didn't miss those 5 games, they'd be the number 1 duo ever. I'm not even using that. And you got people out here that don't comprehend. They do not comprehend that the 5 games don't matter if you got more targets and receptions, but less yards. What? You need 50 more targets and 50 more receptions to get the same yardage as Jalen Waddle? Anyways, Jalen Waddle said something key there when he's talking about Tua's accuracy. He said it's not just about ball placement. It's about allowing us to run after the catch. And then you correlate that to last year, guys. We were not one of the top 10 teams in yards after the catch. Yet, Tua was giving them the opportunity. It's because we had so many, the defenses over, safeties over top, et cetera, to shut that down too high. Your guys' thoughts on 2 things here. How important it is what he said about not just ball placement, but ball placement or after the catch ability. And also, I want to get your thoughts. Jamar Chase or Tyreek Hill? Because what's even more impressive to me, gentlemen, is Jalen Waddle put up those numbers as the number 2, not at the number 1, right? And when games without Tua, he was averaging over 30 yards less per game when Tua was not the quarterback. All right. So your guys' thoughts on that whole dynamic, because this is a dynamic, gentlemen, that's going to last after Tyreek Hill hangs up his Aqua Orange 10, because Waddle's going to outlast him. Richmond, let's start with you.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things I focused in on, is what Jalen said was, ball placement, and they've made the transition together kind of because they played in college together, and now they're playing in the NFL together. And I think one of the things that makes receivers comfortable is knowing that you can trust that when you run your route or come out your break or whatever, the ball is going to be where you can win and get it. And I think the way Tua places the ball and he's so accurate with it, I think they'll make it more comfortable rather than saying, well, if I come out my break, do I have to wait on it, this and that? I worry about getting blown up by. That's not the case with Tua. And so I think that's why he's so comfortable with it. And it was kind of funny because he couldn't actually remember I guess his first college touchdown, who it was from, this and that. But it just shows that that shows that he's not so much worried about individual stats. He's just worried about, hey, when I get on the field, I want to be productive. I want to do what it takes for us to win, this and that. And then as far as Tyreek Hill, I think, and I think most Dolphin fans will agree with me, is I think his mindset, his work ethic, everything, his mental toughness, for him to probably be the shortest, he's probably the shortest guy on the team, but everybody looks at him, the way he works, this and that. I mean, for him to be one of the highest paid guys on the team and to put it where he's setting the example that if I'm not going to take it a playoff or practice off this and that, I had the same expectations from my same teammates, because he understands that's how you get better. He understands, that's why they went to the Super Bowl and stuff in Kansas City. And I think he just brought that mental toughness, that mental aspect of how to approach the game to work and this and that. And so for me, if it was Chase or Tyreek, I'm riding with the Dolphins. You know how I do it. I don't even have to debate that. I mean,
Richmond, I had Bengal fans trying to tell me Jamar Chase is a better athlete than Tyreek Hill. I'm like, Tyreek Hill is a legitimate Olympic level athlete. What are we discussing? Right? He's arguably the best athlete that's ever played the wide receiver position in the NFL. And this guy was trying to tell me Jamar Chase is. I said, bro, you need to take you need to go get a needle and suck that homerism right out of your veins, because I don't know what these people are smoking, Richmond. That
you got to pass. You can't keep. You got to share it with.
No, you know what I said, Richmond? I said, let me know what. Richmond, I swear to God, this is what I said to him. I said, let me know when Jamar Chase puts up 1,700 yards or more in a season. You know what this guy said to me?
What?
He doesn't need to put up 1,700 yards. He draws doubles and gives singles to other receivers out there. I said, so you're telling me you don't think Tyreek Hill draws doubles and makes mismatches for other receivers? Bro, you know why I block these people after I argue with them? Because I can feel my IQ lowering with each message I read from them, right? I'm going to have an epileptic seizure reading these idiots.
Yeah, you give it too much energy to them when you got to let them make it.
And I rarely do anymore, but I had to go out and defend my boy Jalen Waddle, man, because the disrespect, bro. Yeah, and when it was all over? It was all over that PFF ranking. They ranked the Bengals as the best wide receiver group in the NFL.
I saw you responding to that. I seen the BallGame chimed in. I said, "Uh-oh."
When your number twos have more than your top three combined, this is not a discussion. All right, come on. Let's be real here. BallGame, your thoughts?
I think sometimes, man, people fail to realize that statistics don't lie, right? They are an accurate representation of what actually happened on the field and the productivity that the players had. And for someone to really go through a process and say that the Bengals wide receivers were better than the Dolphins wide receivers, that's just ludicrous. Like, the numbers, they're number 3 on the list all time in NFL history. And Jamar Chase and whoever else they throw into over there in Cincinnati had never even eclipsed anything remotely close to that. So I don't even. That's why, hey, I take my hat off to you, bro. You got a lot more patience than I have to deal with folk like that. I said what I said today, and I chimed in because I was like, you know what? It's our job to continue educating people, because people are just gonna run around blind. You know what I'm saying? With blind favoritism towards their team, which sometimes I understand, but when the statistics are sitting you right there in your face, like, you can't deny this. Like, you guys got a good offense. You guys got a good wide receiving core, but we have a great one. And the difference is measured in the statistics, and it's proven week in and week out. So what's your next objection to something else other than this point? Because we won that hands down. But PFF people, I don't know. There got to be some homerism going on over there too. I think across the board, though, what's important about what Waddle said about Tua is that these are the things that most quarterbacks have to learn how to do.
Yeah,
this is something that Tua naturally has, bro. Like, he's had it, and it's not something that's forced upon him. He's always been a guy that's been all about the placement of the ball, and that's a part of the quarterback taking care of the wide receivers. So it comes easy to him, and I think that these guys are really what they're saying, and when they're telling people this stuff, is that he makes my job that much easier. Like you can watch on Sunday and see some wide receivers having to fight to get to a spot where the quarterback's just throwing the ball to. But Tua knows where the spot is, and the ball is there when the guy finishes his move and he's out the break and he's taking that first step open. The ball is already there, so he doesn't have to break down. They don't have to throttle down. They can just full speed, plant, go, and get out. And that has to be, I'd say 85% of the quarterbacks in the league right now are still learning learning the intricacies of that. Mahomes has it already, and Tua has it. Josh doesn't have it. Diggs makes him look amazing. I don't care what nobody say. Let me think. Kirk has it. Kirk Cousins has it. If you watch him long enough, you'll see that he has the anticipation to put the ball into the place where the guy has to. Not have to break stride to go get it. And Burrow has it. Yeah, Burrow has it. So that's a small list. And everybody else is struggling to get there. I haven't seen that type of elite ball placement from a lot of pros. It's something that they separated all of the older guys too, like Dan and Elway and Montana and Steve Young. You know what I'm saying? The only other lefty, that's what Tua reminds me a lot of, is Steve Young, because they play very similar in terms of how they, how they scan the field, and they're being lefties and the ball is out really quick in spots where only the wide receiver can make a play on it. All these things, man, that's really what I believe Waddle is talking to. He's talking to the greatness of Tua's. That's like Tua's X factor. When you're talking Madden, you know what I'm saying? His X factor is his ability to put the ball into a place where only the wide receiver can get it and not have to throttle down, and he can be the best version of himself after they catch it. And for anything else associated with Tua, I just tell people to stand by, because as you watch now, I know y'all have seen it, but for those of you out there listening, take a look at what's being talked about the most on all the other platforms now. The same people that were naysayers about the Dolphins and about what the Dolphins could possibly do, they're changing their tune now. Everybody's trying to go from being way over here on the left and all the Dolphins aren't going to do anything to now they're trying to get past the middle point and over here to the right a little bit, saying that, the Dolphins, if you look at them on paper right now, man, they've got a team ready to go take this thing away from Mahomes. And every time they talk about Mahomes or they talk about somebody else, somebody always references Tua. Well, that guy, man, he put on the weight. He's got bigger. Look like he's stronger. He might have a chance down there because they got an amazing system going down there. They're talking about the Dolphins a lot more. And I told him, I said, I knew it was gonna happen. Even though Colin trying to sneak his way back into the house, but no, you're gonna have to stand at the door too, man. But you ain't got no invitation right now. So you talk reckless. Just keep paying attention, and as stuff leaks out about this team over the course of the next 6 to 8 weeks, watch how the media jumps on board and want to be our best friend. You feel me? Yep. But they dog this kid and they dog this organization for so long. But you don't have to necessarily you don't have to be an Einstein. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It is, and I'm just sitting back like, okay, yep, you on my list. I got you. I see you. All right, check your inbox, because it's coming. You know what I'm saying? So they all got their email somewhere. You can say, yeah, I send emails, bro. I'm that guy. Yeah, I'll spam you too. You better answer back. All I want you to do is go on TV and say you were wrong. You don't have to mention me, but it's coming. I got a long list of names. So,
Barclay says Marino just hugged Richmond on the NFL Network. Week 1, 1994 versus the Patriots is on the NFL Network right now. Hugs, Richmond, hugs. My daughter says to me, "Will her leader? Big hug, big hug." And then when you hug her and you walk away, kisses. Final thoughts, gentlemen. I mean, my final thought on that is another key thing that I think was mentioned too is, it's what Burrow had with Chase. It's what Tua had with Waddle. You didn't have to take a season or a season and a half to build that chemistry. It was already in place from the moment he walked through it, and that means everything for hitting the ground running. And we saw it in year 1 when he broke the rookie reception record, right? Mm-hmm. Quick final thoughts, Richmond, and then BallGame.
13 days before training camp. I think that's the the highlight of the night when I heard that. So definitely looking forward to it. I think USFL, they finished up XFL, so NBA's over. And we have a little dry spell, but now we're that close to football again. So I'm excited about that. That's less than 2 weeks away. So looking forward to that. That's all I needed to hear. So I'm gonna end on that note right there.
Ball game. Final thoughts?
It's football. Yeah, we're right here on the brink of football season, officially being back here. Part of the greatest times of the year. Man, it's hella hot down here in Florida, but you know what I'm saying? All that don't kill them make them stronger because it's ridiculous. But you know, on a lighter note, you know what I mean? I'm okay with people being fans of who they love, right? And following their team and rooting for your team. But I think sometimes when people necessarily go through this process of loving their team so much that they negate the stats, right? At the end of the day, people get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to compile stats and put things together for historical history. I mean, for statistical history. No one's out here looking to demean or take anything away from the accomplishments of any other wide receiver group in the league, but the numbers speak for themselves. And sometimes you just have to be real enough as a fan and as a person that loves this game to just say, you know what, that gives us something new. That gives our guys something to shoot for because you know what I'm saying? There's no slight on them, but our guys just are better, man. And, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know why people have such a hard time just accepting that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you're just not somebody's going to be better. But get better. You can get better.
You know what my dad always told me when I was young, ball game? My dad always told me, doesn't matter how tough you think you are, there's always someone out there tougher. And it's the same thing with that. It doesn't matter how good you think you are, there's always going to be someone better, whether it's now or down the line. Someone better is going to come. Do you think Randy Moss thought anyone like Justin Jefferson would wear that uniform after him and be arguably better than him? No, but here's Justin Jefferson, right? So, and it goes back to what you said, Ballgame.
Exactly.
Like, fans have got to learn when to be objective. I'm a massive Tyreek Hill fan, but I'll be the first to admit that if you say Justin Jefferson is better than Tyreek Hill, you're probably not going to hear a peep from me, right? Because I can objectively say, yeah, Justin Jefferson, you can make the argument he's better than Tyreek Hill right now because look what he's doing at that age. Now, we're going to find out what Justin Jefferson is really about with no Dalvin Cook out there and the running game to lean on a bit. We'll find out what the deal is.
And no Thielen on the other side of him.
So we'll find out, but Justin Jefferson got that dog in him like he's Joey Chestnut and just ate 82 on a Independence Day, right? So anyways, guys, we're going to get out of here. I appreciate all of y'all for coming through. Please do us a favor. Smash that like button. Let's get to over 500 likes. There's over 350 of you in the room. So please smash that like. And I appreciate all of y'all. We had over almost 400 people in the room tonight on a June where we're Dan Marino days from reporting. So appreciate all y'all for coming through. We'll see y'all on the next one. Catch me and Neil tomorrow at 4:30 for another episode of Fin Too Deep. Until then, fins up all day, every day. We'll see y'all on the next one. Shout out to Robert Fuller and D-Man and Kieran for their donations. Thanks, guys.